Do you think a business should be able to have control of their employees' sex lives? That is essentially the question at hand in this lawsuit involving Dave Ramsey's company. I'm going to be reading from an article today, but if you want to read the article in its entirety on your own, I'll put the link in the description. A federal appeals court ruled that a lawsuit against Christian financial guru Dave Ramsey by a former employee who was fired for being pregnant while unmarried can go forward. Now here's the thing. I believe that a Christian company should be able to operate as a Christian company. But there's certain lines. There's certain lines, right? Like this is a little bit more than printing Bible verses on receipt paper. This is a little more than Christian symbols at the office. I really don't think it should be a free pass to exert this kind of extreme control over the lives of your employees. And I feel this way about a lot of issues that aren't in any way related to religion. Free speech issues, for example. If someone says something controversial online on their own time, on their own social media that has no relation whatsoever to their job, and the employer finds out and fires them for that, I don't think that's reasonable. I support the right of companies to make those kinds of decisions. I support, at-will employment, sure, but that's not a good reason. People should not be afraid to express themselves and exercise free speech because they have a job. You shouldn't have to choose between employment and doing what you want on your private time. The point of having the job is so that you can do what you want on your private time. And I also don't think that being a Christian company should give you some type of special privilege. It should not exclude you from having to follow the same rules that other companies have to follow. This whole situation just crosses some serious boundaries. Caitlin O'Connor sued the Lampo Group, Ramsey's Franklin, Tennessee-based company, alleging religious discrimination. But the company said O'Connor was fired for violating the company's ban on premarital sex, and argued that firing was not based on religion. Okay, first of all, if you have a business policy against premarital sex, you are not serious as a business. You are not. You are not serious business people. You should not be taken seriously in the business world. Your work rules should be based on running a profitable and efficient business. Also, this can still be religious discrimination because it all boils down to various interpretations of the Bible. I'm not sure I understand the argument against this being religious discrimination because the whole point of the argument, the whole core of the matter is how biblical interpretation is applied in someone's life. This is about punishing someone for how they are applying the Bible, essentially for whether they're a good enough Christian. This is about penalizing someone for not being what the company views as a good enough Christian. So how is that not religious discrimination? And even if you don't think that there's a strong case here for religious discrimination, this should at the very least be a strong case for sexual harassment. It is none of your damn business what your employees are doing in their bedroom. The only way that a sex life of an employee is in any way your business is if you make porn. Since part of their sex life is on camera for you, I can understand some of those boundaries are not quite there just because of it being in the adult industry. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much any other business. Someone's sex life is not your concern. The sex life of an employee is not your place to comment on, but it's sure as hell not your place to make rules for. Yes, I know we're talking about a legal case and I'm supposed to focus on the legal aspect of all this, but just as a person, just my opinion as a person, just who do you think you are? Like some businesses, leaders of businesses, I swear to God, really just need to be sat down like they're children sometimes and be told, just curious, who do you think you are exactly? Who do you think you are? It is bizarre and creepy to want this kind of control over people's bedrooms. At issue is a righteous living policy at Lampo, better known as Ramsey Solutions, which requires employees to abide by Christian values. Those values, Ramsey's company has argued, include banning intercourse outside of marriage. Okay, so it really doesn't make sense to say that this isn't religious discrimination if you're saying that the policy in question that they violated was a righteous living policy. They say the firing was not based on religion, but then they say she was fired for not following Christian values. So it is religious discrimination. It's bad enough to have a policy like this in the first place and then go so far as to actually have the nerve to enforce it. But to then just kind of talk yourself in circles around this is a little bit ridiculous. You are obviously discriminating against someone who does not believe in Christian values. Also, you know who doesn't follow Christian values? Dave Ramsey. Why is he associated with Ramsey Solutions? He does not live his life with Christian values. Of course, again, that can all boil down to various different interpretations of the Bible, which is the problem with making the Bible the basis for anything. You can justify anything with the Bible, but taking a lot of modern typical interpretations of the Bible, let's just go from there. He calls people idiots and hangs up on them all the time. Is that a Christian value? Is that a Christian manner of conduct? It is not. And for those of you who say, well, he gets frustrated with people who are idiots calling him financial advice, he's a financial advisor. He's a financial advisor. People who messed up and made mistakes and don't know what they're doing and might be the types of people you perceive to be idiots are going to call you. Okay? So if you feel frustrated that someone calls you for financial advice, that would be, what's that phrase? Oh yeah, the consequences of your actions. If it is too much for you to be in this field, then it is on you to take some accountability for that and be like, you know what? I might need to step away. This is a little bit out of my league. But even aside from that just really rude, demeaning pattern of behavior that he has, he is lazy. He is a very lazy person. He gets criticized for giving, boomer advice. And it's just, my thing is, there's not an excuse for that though. There's not an excuse for that. It's your job to know what's going on in modern finance. It's your job to know about the financial issues that people are facing so that when they call you for financial advice, you can say something competent. He is always shocked when people tell him how much they're paying for something. But it's your job to know what things cost. Like, this is your job. It is your job to be knowledgeable in this area. And he just doesn't take that seriously. He is there to collect a paycheck and not do the work. Is that an example of Christian values? At the end of the day, my problem with this case is the fact that it obviously is religious discrimination, and their argument that it's not just doesn't hold water. I think the sexual harassment aspect of this should be a much bigger part of this case. That's really the core issue. And if anything, that's the bigger issue. Okay, it is not your business. How are you even bringing up whether or not someone had sex as if that's in any way your place or your business? That is not okay. I will mention that this case is a couple of years old. I want to say it's 4 years old at this point. There's a lot more information in the article if you want to check it out. And I hope that Ramsey Solutions has to pay up. I really do. People should not have to give companies this much control of their lives in order to have a job. They just shouldn't. And you are doing way too much if you ever, for a second, think that this is your place as somebody's boss. And that is all I have for this video. If you enjoyed this video, half this video, or even just a quarter of this video, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe.